Right. Welcome everyone to the Falmouth School Committee meeting of October 10th, 2023. If we could all please rise for our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Chris, could you please read the mission and vision?
Sure, that was just clearing my throat.
Perfect.
The Falmouth Public Schools mission. Falmouth Public Schools creates world-class student learning experiences. Our Clippers are empowered to pursue their goals with curiosity, integrity, and resiliency. And the Falmouth Public Schools vision. Clippers are creative, inquisitive, and engaged learners who participate in their community as socially responsible citizens. Clippers effectively communicate and solve problems that impact the world around them.
Thank you, Chris.
In honor of yesterday?
I would love you to read that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd love to share the land acknowledgement in honor of Indigenous peoples yesterday. Falmouth Public Schools acknowledges that we are gathering on the unceded ancestral land of the Wampanoag Nation. We recognize and respect the Wampanoag people, including those of Saquonesset, Wacoit, Sipawissat, Connecticut, and Chetwakway, as original stewards of what is now known as the town of Falmouth, and honor their enduring relationship with this land. This land acknowledgement is an intentional act to counter the erasure of Indigenous people and to demonstrate respect for their sovereign rights. We are committed to educating ourselves and our students about the long-standing history of the Wampanoag people. In alignment with the core values of the Falmouth Public Schools, we pledge to build an ongoing partnership with the Wampanoag Nation.
Thank you, Kelly. We are. I thank you, Kelly. I see Gilda here from the Enterprise. Is there anyone else making a recording? No? Great. Thank you. Welcome back, Gilda. Missed you. Public comment. The school committee will be in person for, wait a minute, that's not correct. Sorry. Oh, yes. We're going out of, this is a little out of order. Not really. Let's hear from Anna Bennett from Student Advisory.
Hi, thank you so much for having me back this year. I'm going to start off with sports because that's quick. Right now, we're about like mid-season. Regular season will end October 27th, and then after that will be postseason tournament play. The volleyball team is hosting a mental health match tomorrow in conjunction with the high school club squad. Two of our captains are club squad members, and then the Barn School team who are playing is coming in support of that as well. So it's like a dig green event, which is the color for mental health, and it'll be with Hope Squad and sharing kindness with like information on mental health and suicide prevention. Other things in sports, the homecoming football game is going to be October 27th, followed by the homecoming dance, and the week leading up to that is going to be Spirit Week, which senior class officers have worked on creating themes that are district-wide this year, which is a new change that normally we just do it at the high school, but this year we're kind of like trying to have the whole town come together that weekend. Our Friday theme is like maroon and white, as always, so it's like kind of like a uniting factor for us as well as all the other schools, so we're really excited about that. Also coming up that week as well, the date is escaping my mind right now, but it's going to be in 8th grade. We're calling it Welcome Home Night, where we'll have a bunch of clubs and activities like kind of open for 8th graders to come like look around and see what they might be interested in and like talk to people, get information about a variety of things. So that's really exciting. And the last thing I have is that this past week we implemented at Falmouth High School an e-hall pass system, which has been working great. And I think already, I mean, we've only had it for a week and people have kind of started to get used to it. It's really quick, really efficient. You send the teacher a request for a pass, they put you at about like tell you what bathroom to go to and which one doesn't have too many people in it. And they can see how long you're gone for and how many times you've been to the bathroom or you've been out of class for whatever reason, which is super, it's been great with the new like kind of clear expectations and like the goals that we set as a community at high school.
I have a couple of questions. The e-pass, Can students see how, like, can they track themselves? Like, maybe they wouldn't even know that they're always asking to go to the bathroom or to be excused from class between, I don't know, call it second period or what, like, can students track themselves as well?
That's a good question. For me, I know that I've only used it just to send a class, and it's only really, they're not looking at are you going at this class every day, unless you're gone for over after 10 minutes, it gives a notification that okay, this person's gone for longer than 10 minutes. It's more of did you go during first period and second and third and fourth, and it's leaving every single class versus oh, you leave second period every day. I mean, I know I always have to go either fill my water during fourth period, it's just that time of day. It's pretty for me at least, I'm always okay, I need to go fill my water bottle. So I don't think it's as much focus on that, and I would be interested to look. I'll have to see if I can look at my own histories or just teachers can.
I'd be curious to kind of just to, if you had an opportunity to self-regulate, I always do this at this time or whatever, just a random question. Anna, since it's your first meeting back, I just wanted to say, well, thank you for coming back. And congratulations on your VIPS Student Volunteer of the Month. I know that you are very humble, but you are very well deserving of that. I can attest to that personally and the district. So I'd like to just give you a little round of applause. You do a lot. You're a really great student and well deserved. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Seeing none. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Great. Moving on to public comment. Members of the public are welcome to speak about items that are not on the agenda. Comments should be limited to 2 minutes in length. Due to open meeting law, the committee cannot take action on public comment. For items on the agenda, the chair may accept comments from the public following the committee's discussion of an item. Additional comments and feedback can also be submitted by email to schoolcommittee@falmouth.k12.ma.us. Do we have anyone for public comment?
Yes.
Please come forward and sit. Welcome and sit in the
Sorry, you want to come up?
seats. Sure. Welcome.
Roll.
Yeah.
He just moved up. High rollers.
Excellent. If you could please tell us who you are.
My name is Kevin Pease, and first and foremost, I'm a Clipper. Okay. So
Welcome.
maroon and white, yeah. And I've been involved with coaching tennis here in Falmouth for 40 years.
Excellent.
And at this moment in time, I'm a volunteer coach for both the boys and girls varsity tennis teams in high school. And I'm also the tennis director for the Kentucky School of Tennis at the Falmouth Sports Center. So I've also done that for 40 years. Wow. Oh, Falmouth's a great town, isn't it? Nice. So, Cara.
I'm Cara Pease. I'm a tennis pro at Kentucky School of Tennis. I also am a tennis alum. I played on the Falmouth High School team and was captain. And now I'm the varsity girls coach at the high school. This will be my 11th year coaching. Yep.
That's awesome.
That's us.
That's who we are.
That's
Now,
great.
why are we here?
Right.
That's a good question. All right, well, there's an issue that's come up with pickleball at the Falmouth High School. Okay. And what we decided, the co-founders of the FTA, we are now the Falmouth Tennis Association, which we founded about a week ago. It's not that long. And we protest pickleball at the Falmouth. And I'm gonna get some water, Doctor.
Sorry, I apologize.
So, I had that cold last week, that's still cold. So, and you might say, well, why? Okay, so we're gonna go, 2 minutes, it's 120 seconds, so we're just gonna go through the reasons really quickly. And I believe, hopefully you all have the email.
We received your email.
Okay, good. So,
Yeah. I got it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm supposed to tell you, that's all, I want you to know.
okay, when does it start?
Well, it
Well, you
started
already
2
started.
minutes ago,
Oh, it started.
but I feel we'll give you some grace. Because I know that you probably practice this.
Okay, any other line markings on the courts affect the ability to read lines correctly? The courts have been exclusively used for tennis since 1973. Let's preserve this tradition. Let's keep competition on the tennis courts, for tennis on the courts and not for pickleball and tennis trying to get on the courts. Pickleball wears the tennis court out unevenly. Pickleball noise is disturbing. This is a disturbing problem for tennis players. Large groups of pickleball players cause disruption of tennis play and do not follow etiquette. A little discussed fact is that tennis is growing. It's been growing in the community of Falmouth. And let's see here. If pickleball court lines are sprayed at FHS, this could actually delay funding the application for the proposed Falmouth pickleball facility at Tri Park. And tennis would become second fiddle to the mecca of pickleball players. It would be at FHS until that facility is built. So what that's saying is that there's been other courts in town that have closed. They're going to be closing for pickleball, and the pickleball mecca would be at the high school because there's no place else to play except for the courts. The co-founders of Falmouth Pickleball on Team Reach, David Space and Linda Jarvis, fully support our petition, as well as a lot of other pickleball players. There, wow, I think I got it all there. All these points which I said are described in a little bit more detail, but not too bad, not too long, in the report that I emailed all to you. So we just wanted to get that out there. Food for thought, you can kick it around, you should know about it. And we have our reasons. And we have 333 people on the petition, and it's growing at about 50 people a day.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to meet you all. Have a great evening.
You too.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, moving on to presentation of enrollment and class size. Shall I turn it over to who would let me turn?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
I apologize.
Don't.
But we have a backup plan, can't make it through. Okay, so this is a presentation that I do each October, usually the first of October, based on our October 1st data. So this is enrollment for class size. And here we have the enrollment per school, and you can see the overall enrollment for this school year right now is 2949. I will tell you that I know of 2 students that's already enrolled since we put this together, so it's a little higher than that, so it does change daily, it changes throughout the year. As of October 1, this is the data. And this is enrollment by grade. I will note on your slides, on the previous slides, it had 44 out of district. In this slide, the 44 out of district are included within the grade level. School choice, we're back to our normal numbers, and you see the first 3 years listed there from 2019-20 school year through 21-22, we were pretty steady in the high 160s. We returned this year at 167. And here is our 5-year enrollment comparison. So I want to talk a little bit about the class, the average class size. And usually I do the average, but I added in the extra column this year, which gives us the range, the lowest and the highest of the class sizes, so we have a little bit more of an accurate view. So you can see in a kindergarten, 15.6 is the average, which is pretty typical for kindergarten. We have a kindergarten class at 13, we also have two at 21. And that's unusual. When we were planning our kindergarten classes in advance, these students actually came in late August and into September that actually raised those two particular class sizes. So 21's a little higher than what we normally like in kindergarten. But we do have the teacher and a teaching assistant in each kindergarten class. So there are 2 adults in there. The others are pretty typical. You can see at grade 4 that we have a low of 11 and a high of 22. The 22 is pretty typical over the years. The 11 is unusual. It's almost the opposite here. But this was a classroom over a couple classes that have a lot of students with some challenges, some additional needs, and to really go by best practice in the classroom on the ratios of students with disabilities and students without disabilities. It was necessary to actually keep those class sizes low to meet that. So again, a little unusual, but I wanted to point that out. But overall, the average being 18 is actually low for 4th grade. And then we have 5th and 6th grade. And we're getting back to normal class sizes in 5th grade. So pre-pandemic, our class sizes at both 5th and 6th grade always ranged around 23 and a half was actually the average. It would go anywhere from 21 to 25 for the class sizes at any given time. And so the 23.5 or 23.5 is actually typical, getting back to pre-COVID times. And then grade 6 is actually pretty low because it's usually 23 as well. So just to remind everyone, when we talked about during COVID time, and obviously we added a lot of staff, we were keeping class sizes lower than usual. We knew that the ESSER dollars allowed us to do that. And so this year is the last of the ESSER dollars. And so we will see some class sizes again getting back to normal. So when you look across that range, next year I would suspect that you're going to see several others getting closer to the average. Interesting, when I was looking at the data, when I looked back at 2018, 2019, we were actually down 1 teacher than we have now. So even though when I showed you the enrollment, right, is declining, but I can, so the number of teachers, the Unit A teachers, is actually higher now than it was in 2018 before the pandemic, which we've added a lot of staff. But also, whether it's class size, and we're looking at enrollment, when you look at the class size, it's also the number of additional support teachers. So we've talked about the additional ELD teachers for our multilingual learners, our additional special education teachers, reading specialists we've added, and all of those supports are still needed. Counselors is also in that area. So we need those additional staff members, but we are getting back to our pre-COVID class sizes. So if that helps in balancing. So here is our a chart of our multilingual learners over time. So you can see back 5 years ago we were at 4.4, and you can see this year we're at 6.9. Our students with disabilities, you can see that our percentage of students on IEPs is 23.2%. You can see how that's risen. I will say that we have higher numbers of pre-K students at this time, or preschool. So we added 2 additional classrooms, so more students, more staff needed, and it's basically the pre-K is for students with disabilities. We try to invite peers in so that we have a program, but it is a special education. program. So I will say that some of the rise in this past year is the younger students. The economic disadvantaged over time. You can see where we were just 5 years ago, and you can see where we stand today. And
Can I
this,
ask a question? Sure. I just have a quick question. The economically disadvantaged, it's quite a significant jump pre-pandemic to now. Has there been any thought as to it being pandemic related, or is this just the organic population of how things are moving in town, or what are is there any, we don't have the data
So,
analyzed?
no, well, I don't even know if we would have data to actually answer that, right? I do know even, I can talk about the Cape Kid meals that we give on weekends, that rose this year significantly, over the past years. So, I mean, we're seeing the needs, I think the councils are seeing it. Is it pandemic related or is it the other? I'm not sure that I don't know what data we would be able
I don't know, just
you know, and interesting, you know, we are with the free breakfast and lunch, we are still encouraging our families to still fill out the free and reduced lunch forms, even though we have free breakfast and lunch, but that also is an indicator for us.
Sure.
Where we, you know, stand, you know, with this percentage, and then it also helps us out with our federal grants data. So it's important still to do the paperwork, so that we can actually have an accurate number. So I do think that, you know, for the most part, they are filling them out. Nobody, we're capturing everything. Sure. But we're certainly turning. And then the last slide is by race and ethnicity. We have this is just a snapshot of this year.
And I assume under Hispanic is the Portuguese population.
Not necessarily, I mean, you know, when they fill this out, I mean, they're able to choose where they identify. But it would not necessarily be Portuguese population.
Because then there is no indication of Portuguese population. There's a large group of Portuguese students, I believe.
These are the federal
Okay.
qualifications that we have to
Okay.
have on the form, we can't add to. I hear what you're saying, we can't, but this is a reporting requirement for us, so this is, these are the choices.
Margaret, great question, because I had that question a couple of years ago. So I like that we're on the same page with that.
Great. I'm happy to take any other questions you might have.
Any questions? Heather?
Yeah, I mean, Melissa, I think great question around the economically disadvantaged, given that there was a steady upward trend, and then 21 to 22, it's almost was that 8% jump, is huge. But given that the percentage of economically disadvantaged, the percentage of students with disabilities, the percentage of multilingual learners are all steadily trending upward over 5 years. And I hear you saying we're trying to get class sizes back to normal, which is larger, but I wonder how you're thinking about kind of long-term. I know we don't know exactly what's driving all of this, but the indications are it's probably going to keep going in this direction. So how do we ensure that we have the resources we need and are anticipating the fact that our students are going to need more and more support, or our student population is going to need more and more support?
We absolutely. So the budget only allows for, you know, a number of staff. I mean, we don't have an unlimited budget, so it's going to be, you know, you got to look at the needs of the students, and if we need additional special education teachers, you know, then yeah, it's got to come from somewhere, right? So and it's a requirement for the ELD in special education. So the teachers for those programs have to be considered.
So it is a question during the budget season for us to continue to grapple with, right? How do you balance the needs and I'm trying to keep the class sizes as low as possible, but also having the needs met.
Chris? Sure.
But were you gonna ask?
Go ahead first.
I know, it's hard to gauge class size in the junior high and high school because, you know, there's so many different classes. But are they, is the student teacher ratio pretty much the same or sort of changing it or?
Because it's class by class, I mean, that's why we don't report Lawrence in high school.
Oh, you never report it?
No, we never report those numbers. Not while I was here and as far back. It's just, it's nearly impossible. You may have, depending on what class, you could have 15, but then you might have 25.
I get it, because in the singleton courses are, yeah, no, I get it. I just wondered if they're pretty much, is the population about the same as the high school and junior high last year? About that?
We have gone down over, the presentation's down,
Yeah.
so in your presentation, it wouldn't show that, but, I don't know exactly what the number was last year at the high school, but I believe it was, close to 800 last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, and isn't part of that Upper Cape Tech took extra kids this year, right? So they have a higher than normal enrollment.
They did, as they continue to expand their programs, then they can, you know, accept more students. Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see kind of a more detailed breakdown in terms of kindergarten through grade 4 relative to the individual elementary schools. You know, each of the schools kind of represent almost a different part of town. And so I'd be very curious to see what, you know, kind of what the average size is per school, you know, kind of that range again, lowest to highest. And even, you know, seeing some of the, you know, all the other categories kind of broken down by, oh, is that what this is?
Thank you for.
Did you
Wow,
that's amazing.
It was like, that was
Are
a
you
seedy
plant?
question. Yeah, it seems that way.
So I just did a one major kind of glance at the enrollment.
Yeah, sorry.
So there's some historical data, but it's really kind of focused where we could provide more data that really cannot fit on this slide.
Well, we're all perusing this. How many, could you tell, is it too much to ask how many sections are in each grade in each school? Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, straight off. I mean,
Okay, that's okay.
I mean, yes, I could probably do it.
That's what, no, but it's okay. If you think you can, or a guesstimate, that'd be great.
So at East Falmouth, we have 2 kindergarten, 2 first grade, 3 second grade, 2 third grade, and 3 fourth grade. And at Norman, we have 4 sections of every grade, except third grade, and there's 5 sections of third grade. At T-Ticket, there's 3 sections of every grade. Okay, now let's see, this is 11. There's 3 sections of kindergarten, 3 sections of first grade. I'm gonna look at signage. At second grade, there's 5. That was the bubble year for them. 3 sections at third grade and 3 sections of fourth grade. And signage not even actually.
Strong work.
Nice.
So we can calculate. At Morris Pond, there's 10 sections of 5th grade and 12 sections of 6th grade. And then there's.
And then it's stopped. No, that's okay.
Okay. I like a good quiz.
So I see that North has 5 sections of second grade. I wonder how many, and it appears as though east is light in students. I'm wondering how many students are, it's not school choice, help me, what's it called? When you want to go to another school
Within the district,
within the district.
just between the principals they ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how many are at different schools when they live in,
Within the district.
with, like if they live within the East Falmouth, but they're asking to go to North.
So we have very few requests each year. Between any of the schools. So I don't know exactly how you choose, it's always handled between the principals, I mean, I can get that data for you. But I can tell you, my guess is it's under 5 students per whole district.
Really?
It's interesting.
Under 5. I'm thinking of 5 on one street that asked to go to another school because they were district or zoned for another school.
Sometime there, you know, that reason.
When were they there? 3 years ago? 3 years ago.
No,
So-
because we didn't, it changed, because the first time that request was made
Was
was
first Sam,
10 years ago,
10.
11, yeah, 10.
Yeah, no, I'm not counting those,
Yeah.
because that's what I'm looking
Because that was,
at.
because that was then changed
They
by the
grant-
time
they
they were
granted
in
that.
second or third grade, people didn't
So
have
that
that.
street always has that choice.
Okay.
I was talking about on a year-to-year basis, the requests that come in.
And then when you say that there's a request, when the parent or the guardian puts the request in at, say, kindergarten and says, can I go to Mullen instead of East? And then that request is made the first year, you don't have to keep asking for that.
Exactly.
Is that considered a one-time request? Or is that,
They could decide.
right, but is that in the 5 students kind of thing? So like,
Yes, I'm saying each year, as new request.
new request, okay,
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, so it's new request.
okay.
I'm saying it's under 5, I really don't know, I don't know, so
It's not a lot.
Feels accurate, but I can
Yeah, I can really need to see the data, but
That's okay. Thank you.
I'm curious about the distribution of students on school choice. I've never actually seen that broken down by which elementary school they're at, so how does that work? And the fact that there are a bunch at Mullen and North and very few at East and T-Ticket.
because school choice would be outside the district requesting to come in.
Right,
We've been able to honor every school choice request that we've.
so they're requesting a specific school within the district, not
Yeah.
just the district.
Oh, no, it is specific school.
Questions?
Hold on, Belle. Go ahead, Sue.
Regarding school choice, are there specific grades that we have determined that the enrollment is just too large and we can't accept for those grades?
We haven't run into, did we? I'm looking.
No,
I
no,
don't
I'm
think we run
sorry.
into that.
Every year, we look at the enrollment and we look at our numbers, and then we make, it's, I believe in February, then we come to the school committee and we'll make a recommendation of up to a certain amount of seats per grade. So we look at every single grade from K through 11.
Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I see on page 3, the school choice, the 5-year trend, that's the enrollment of students coming from another district into ours, correct?
Correct.
Do we have the numbers of the students in our district choosing to go out of district?
Yes, Bill, so, last year, we had, 151 students come in, we had 70 go out. And this school year, we have 167 coming in and 78 going out.
Okay. Could we get the 5-year trend on that just to compare?
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm texting you the handout that we got, since it wasn't in our packet.
And the out includes upper Cape Jack?
No, it's not school choice.
Okay,
Is that correct?
that's right, because our district is part of it, okay.
Yeah, okay.
It would be like FA or.
No,
Sturgis.
Okay.
No, Sturgis is not.
What are, so
It would
like
be
Mashpee
going
or?
by Mashpee.
Oh, it's a different district, it's a different district.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Private school,
Right.
Okay. Have we ever considered, when students are school choicing in from Mashpee and they wanna go to, I'm looking at the heaviest, North, 34 out-of-district students at North, have we ever considered, balancing out some of the other schools, just for numbers wise? Like, yes, you can come here, but this is where we need to put you.
So we do that, sometimes it depends on the class sizes, right? So, well, you know, so especially like kindergarten will come in, we get requests and we'll say, yes, you can come into district, we don't know your placement yet, because we don't know our kindergarten numbers. So in other words, I would not put school choice students into a kindergarten class that would raise above what we want.
Sure.
So then they can have a choice somewhere else.
Sure.
So yes, we do at the elementaries look at that.
Because it doesn't appear, it looks like there's 6 at East and 5 at T-Ticket and 34 at North and 21 at Mullins.
But if we're under that, if they fit into that class, then they get their first choice.
Okay.
So if we have 17 in 3 different classes at North, and get 3 requests, going to 18 is not, it's
Sure.
within our range.
Okay.
Well, I would also imagine, I mean, we have teachers who live in other districts
Sure.
and their kid wants to be in the building that they're in.
I totally appreciate that. I wasn't really thinking of that.
We don't wanna send them to East
No,
if
no, no.
they're
Definitely
teaching
accept
at
that.
North.
Right, we definitely accept that.
Mike?
I don't know this to be the fact, but I would assume that North Falmouth Elementary is a higher school choice because of Econovan, and the elementary school in Bourne is further away from Econovan, and that's why they're there. And as far as Mullen Hall, it could be folks working in Woods Hole, and that makes the most sense, and that's why T-Ticket and East are, less. But, it would be interesting to see where the students are school choicing in from. Because then that would help us understand, oh, this is the reason why these 2 are higher. And then I think Kelly just said, not even if it's a teacher, but someone who's working in Woods Hole, oh, now you have to drive, to.
Right,
East
I'm not
Falmouth, so-
looking to make it more of a hardship than what they're trying to avoid. I just am I'm thinking about our own, that's all.
Yeah, I was thinking about too where North Falmouth is. It's the closest one off the highway. So if people are coming over the bridge, North Falmouth would be the closest one. There's a lot of dynamics.
We did get that request a lot.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they used to have half-day kindergarten? Do they still? I can't imagine they still have half-day kindergarten.
Isn't that a state thing now?
But when I started, we had tons of school choice kids come in to North because it was the closest full-day kindergarten. And then they just stayed.
Excellent presentation, great discussion, thank you. Moving on to act on field trip request for Hope Squad to Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Hi, so Katie Falcon here. Would you like to come up?
Yeah, that would be great. Hi,
Yes.
Ms.
Hi,
how are you?
So our students in Hope Squad are also had a great opportunity.
Yes,
So please share with us.
someone from Safe Schools in New Hampshire, that's a conference that they do for the past couple of years. It's, I think it's about 10 to 15 schools across the state of New Hampshire. It's a student-led conference to focus on mental health, bullying, and school violence. They reached out to us, the man that runs Safe Schools reached out to me, saying, I heard there's a Hope Squad in Massachusetts. You guys are the first one. There still isn't a Hope Squad in Vermont or New Hampshire. We would love for your students to come and meet with all of our students, present and share. And so I'm asking if we can take, Lori found a plan with a van and a driver, so pretty last minute. It's in a couple of weeks. It's on November 3rd. We'll leave at like 5 in the morning, be home by 6 at night, and it's supposed to be a great opportunity for the Hope Squad kids and to share their experience with the state of New Hampshire and hopefully spread it into their state. Any questions?
So I think we just need a minute to look at it.
Yes.
Because usually we have like a first read and people.
For
usually
sure,
look
take your
before.
time.
Margaret.
Well, I should think that we should be really proud of the fact that we're the first school that has this Hope Squad, and that you were invited. I think it really speaks well to our school district, and you know, what how you support
Thank you.
sharing that
It's
information
exciting
with other
stuff,
schools. I
yeah.
think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
The agenda looks wonderful.
How many kids are going?
It's going to be about 4 or 5. Probably the Hope Squad officers. 2 advisors,
Sure.
me and Mr. Murphy, because the other 2 advisors have games. So it was easy. Everybody wanted to go.
Nice. I noticed it said cost $0 to students. Is there a cost being absorbed, or?
They are covering the cost of the
cost
registration.
of the
I think it's about 300 to 500 that they're able to give us, yes.
Oh,
for
okay,
the
so the
conference, and they
conference
feed
is
us too, yep.
Fabulous.
Because we're sort of like a guest to speak, to share, so they,
Right.
we're really hoping to have us come, so they're,
Yeah.
seem to be bending over backwards, which is cool.
It's great, wonderful.
And kids are better than adults, just
Yeah.
talk always. So,
And the idea is a leadership, conference where they're all sharing and learning from each other, and bringing things back to their schools.
This is so great.
Yes. Peer to peer.
well done.
Any
Can I
other
make a
question?
motion?
I'd love you to make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, Bill.
Orfner, yes.
Gillen, yes.
Maderos, yes.
Guster, yes.
Welch, yes.
Susan, yes.
Lumping, yes.
Goldstone, yes.
Melissa Keith, yes. Katie, have fun. I
Awesome,
can't wait to
thank you so much.
go. Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to act on the surplus.
Can we ask her what time the game's tomorrow? What time's the
What
game tomorrow?
Katie,
Sorry?
What time's the volleyball game tomorrow?
Oh,
I forgot to-
right, and Hope Squad is doing a whole
Right.
volleyball game.
Come back, sit down.
We're gonna set up around 3, but I think the game is at 4:35.
thank you.
And from Sharon Kindness to be there too, which would be cool.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you so much.
Sorry about that.
All right, now we're gonna move on to act on the surplus of the 2014 Ford Econovan. Who's filling in for superintendent? Looks like Dr. Tellier.
So our wonderful van is currently showing 252,599 miles, and unfortunately has a hole in the intake manifold that has brought it to this place.
Okay, best of luck. Is there?
Motion.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second? Thank you, Kelly. Any discussion? No? Great, moving on. Bill, start us off.
Gillen, yes.
Yes.
Guster, yes.
Welch, yes.
Susan, yes.
Lumping, yes.
Goldstone, yes.
Melissa Keith, yes. Best of luck, Ford Econovan. Moving on to act on the FEA units B and D MOA. Looks like Mary Gans, take it away.
This is the MOA that was discussed during last week in executive session. It's a provision that was included in the Unit A contract, but with a little for negotiating in the Unit B and G contract. So where is the provision in the Unit A contract for reimbursing staff members for participation on certain work that they do outside of their typical duties?
Is there a
I'll make
motion?
a motion.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Bill?
Dorfner, abstain.
Gillen, yes.
Maderos, yes. Augusta, yes.
Welch, yes.
Susie, yes.
Slumping, yes.
Goldstone, yes.
Melissa Keefe, yes. Looks like that passes. I would love to sing. Do you need it in blue? Okay. No, no. Oh, that's why I'm blue. Wow, Melissa.
While you're signing, can I ask a question? So we just got our FEA contracts bound, and we've had a number of these. Can we get the signed, all the signed copies of all the signed MOAs from the last couple meetings to add to our handy dandy book? We'll stick them in.
We absolutely will do this.
Okay, so there's just a lot to, yeah.
Thank you, Kelly, for that. That's great. Okay, I want to turn it over to Dr. Turner for the
We are gonna move
superintendent.
into-
Okay.
All right, so the first I want to talk about is our day of belonging on Friday, so I'm going to turn it over to Sonia and Henry.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. Henry and I are excited, we're gonna share some information. First was our keynote speaker, Deputy Commissioner, Dr. Regina Robinson. And I know that Superintendent Doris shared a link in her communication last Friday, capturing about the 30-minute address. Her charisma and her energy definitely was the right fit for starting off the day and carrying us through. And she kept telling us that she had to leave to get to her next engagement and stayed about an hour beyond what she should have, given the bridge condition. But just was really excited to take back our work and bring that to the colleagues at Destiny. Also, really thankful that we got to welcome Facing History and Ourselves. They got to work with two of our learning paths, about 200 of our colleagues, talking about how to build community, focusing on identity, and how we ground our teaching in equity and justice. And they've invited us into some continued professional development. And they have a philanthropic partner that's making that additional PD really accessible for us at $25 a person. So we're working on that. And then really looking beyond Friday and how we continue to partner with them. And so then we had a number of colleague facilitated PD.
Yeah, I'm very excited about coming together and working things out. That peer learning, peer teaching is awesome. To see it is wonderful. One aspect were texts, reading, or articles where teachers got together and they read a chapter and they were able to share what they read with one another and sit down and just try to engage. Mine was, I led one, which is we need to talk about anti-Semitism. And let me tell you, that was a powerful time where teachers going, this needs to be a district-wide read. They got so excited, like, can we have, they were like, this was a great atmosphere of trying to work out and make sure our schools are safe for all kids. And this was a great book. The thing that really got me was Regina comes in and talks about we can be light in times of darkness. She had a personal discovery, a personal situation where a doctor came in and was light to her. And we were able to say to teachers, you can be that light. We don't know where kids are coming. You can be a light, and there might be a microaggression, but you can be a light to that student. And that was a powerful time. And not only the texts, and these are the three texts, there was Reconnect and Street Data. There was also articles from special education. So they were able to do all those aspects. But not only did we rely on text, but we also relied on student voices. And students were able, through a video, we captured a video, they were able to share with us, do they feel belong? What makes them be a Clipper? What helps them throughout the day? How do teachers help you? How do classmates help you? And so the teachers got to hear the student voices just like they did this, and then break up into groups of 10 and start thinking about what can we do. And one of the clear voices was like, what voices we didn't hear? What are some of the hardships that we're not capturing? And I love that that's their heart, because now we would like to continue that with maybe next year with some restorative, some pieces where we are dealing with those hard stories, kids that might be dealing. So it was just so powerful to see teachers to say, okay, this is real, this is in my classroom, let's really tackle these issues and then talk about it and then review from there. So those were powerful issues, and I'll turn it back to you.
We also had a session on brain science and executive functioning, and we also had one on de-escalation. So they were handing out the little mini stress stars. So we brought a few. If you have one, take two. If you don't have one, take two.
Are you supposed to have both, right? You're supposed to have.
You can have both or one, your choice.
Okay.
But we're really excited because it also gives us an opportunity to have the community expo again. So 8 Cousins helped us secure the books and prepare everything. No Place for Hate Falmouth and the Falmouth Education Foundation provided a significant amount of funding for us to be able to partner with Facing History and Ourselves. And then beyond that, all of our community partners at the expo there to engage with our colleagues and help design continued partner opportunities and help us set the stage for next year, but what it means every day, the year through. And then finally, just Henry and I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Mary Kate Stevens, teaching learning specialist, whose fingerprints are across all of the organization and communications and really helping us get the day up and running. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm like jotting down all these books because I'm excited about this. Thank you so much.
Okay, and then next, Sonya's going to talk to us about a little up.
Okay, I think it's great, but I was watching a lot of television, and a lot of students are saying what in fact they need and what in fact and I'm wondering if we have any way we're hearing the voices of students, particularly in this area.
Yeah, we call it, that was this, your question was exactly what a lot of teachers are doing. How do we capture, how do we make sure that it's done in a safe way, that we're not, that they feel comfortable to share their story. And so that has been the message, and we're kind of deciding how we want to capture that. Some teachers, after we talked about it, they made some suggestions. So from now until next year, that's going to be the hope, to capture those lost stories, or stories that needs to be lifted up so we can deal with them. So that's an important piece for next year. And we're gonna give resources as well, hopefully with our. We're looking towards that end.
Thank you, because I think it's in hearing their stories, they also are able to articulate what they need and what they miss, and I think that's so important that their voices be heard. It's great to, and I'm not denigrating the program. I think it's wonderful. I'm not denigrating it at all. I want to be clear about that. But as people in charge, making decisions without the voices of those that we're talking about are very important, and I want to stress that.
I just wanted to comment that one teacher, I was like highlighting, she said to me, I need to raise this. One teacher said, if we don't hear the voices, we will not solve the solution. We won't fix the problem. So I felt like that was huge. I want to highlight it. So we need to hear these voices. We need to look at it and find ways to solve it.
Thank you.
So I want to thank everyone, Sonia, Henry, and Gary Kate, but there were a lot of teachers that also presented. It was a great day. There was a lot of energy. It was positive. So just thank you for all the work that it took to put that together. And it's becoming an annual tradition, and people keep asking for it, so it's a good thing. So at one meeting, Tanya shared with us some exciting news about our AP and the number of students that were taking exams, and how successful our students are. So we have a little update to that. So Sonia, you want to share some bit more good news?
Sure, thank you. I mean, the fun stuff to share, right? We were named to the advanced placement for the AP honor roll, which is something we don't even apply for, and then we received the distinguished award. So there's a few criteria, and so I have them highlighted in front of me so I don't mix them up. So we needed 40% or more of our graduating cohort to take at least one AP exam. That was one of the first criteria. And so when we were talking about it, when the scores first came out in the summer, our AP Human Geography and the number of test takers alone, but seeing that that's happening in other departments and with other courses coming online, I think it's really important. And so that was one that we very easily met. The second is that 25% or more of the graduating cohort has to score a 3 or higher on at least one of their exams. Again, we have very strong results. We're seeing, a significant number of students achieve that. And then the third criteria is that 2% or more of the graduating cohort has to take 5 or more AP exams over their entire 9 through 12 years. So we were able to make the AP honor roll, and we entered at the bronze level. And so the one thing that we know, and we actually have we have an AP equity team with grant support, and Chris Brothers is our lead writer. But I'm also meeting with some of the staff at the high school on Friday, is providing more opportunities and starting to get them into 9th and 10th grade. So that will be what will allow us to move up in the tiers to silver and hopefully eventually gold. But it has been about 6 years since Falmouth was recognized on the AP honor roll. So we're definitely moving our work in the right direction, and we wanted to share that good news that just came in last week.
That's very exciting.
Next on the superintendent's is this flyer coming around. So it's exciting to announce that school committee meetings, several of them will be at different locations. I'll actually be at some of our schools, which is, I think, the first time this is happening. And one of the reasons for this is because this will actually allow us to have students from those schools at those meetings, and they will be sharing with us student voice and their Clipper experience, Margaret. Also, Margaret, that book, Street Data, that talks about getting data from the street, from students, so you should read that as a hot topic.
She's ad-libbing.
So you get on the floor.
I have a quick question, Sonia, can we just go back to the AP honor roll?
Sure.
Was this school year the first year that students could just choose to be in AP as opposed to previous years where they had to qualify for AP? Can you, no?
This is, I think, our third or
Is it a
fourth
third?
year.
I want to say we started in the program.
Yeah.
We were opening, we used to have some barriers even for students to get into honors level. We'd say, a B or better in the prerequisite course, and we eliminated those, saying if a student wants to take a course and challenge themselves, if they passed the prerequisite, they passed even with a D-, they passed, that's a passing score, so they should be allowed to take it. So we opened that up, that was just before COVID.
Yeah, it was the fall of 19, I think, is when we completed the first full revision of the program of studies.
So I can't help but think that this could possibly be like, even students that maybe wouldn't have previously qualified for these AP classes have stepped up and really challenged themselves, and now here Falmouth is getting recognized for this AP honor roll that we didn't ask for, and just breaking down the barriers,
Also,
please.
one thing we introduced AP computer science, which we even allowed 9th and 10th graders to take, and I think that introduced students realizing, oh, I can take an AP course, and actually it's not as challenging as I might think, so I think that opened the mindset for students as well.
I like that.
When we think about students like Warden, right?
Mm-hmm.
In AP art, right? It's all the interest and the connection when we think about the day of belonging, right? We just got to know Lorden, and then that little nudge.
Sometimes it's all it takes, just a little confidence. Terry?
If a course is called AP and transcripts, etc., is there a amount of kids that have to take the AP exam?
No, I mean, we certainly encourage students to take it, but it doesn't have a maximum amount. That's why it measures it by the number of exams taken over the cohort. We encourage students to take it, but on the flip side, some of them are making decisions based on, especially if they're in their senior or their college application process, whether or not a school will accept it. But we have seen an increased number of students taking it, so.
Obviously, because the numbers
Yeah,
are
we're
higher.
hopeful that that sticks.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Kelly?
On the subject of barriers, I feel like I say this a lot, but I'm gonna keep saying it because I think it's really, really important. If we want the classes, the AP classes, to be truly accessible, we have to address the cost. And at parent night, I was struck by all the AP teachers mentioning the cost of those classes, it's like $80 or something per exam, and they all were wonderful about mentioning that if it's a barrier, you know, to reach out to guidance, but I can't help but think that there are students that don't opt in because they know that it is expensive, especially the math and science related courses where we were told we needed to buy a $125 calculator, and that is not doable for a lot of people. So I think we need to really, this is clearly a priority of the district, is making sure that kids can challenge themselves. And we're gonna have to put money behind that if we really want it to be truly equitable. Okay, sorry, but
Don't be sorry.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
keep
super
saying
important.
it.
No, it's important. Thank you. Any other comments, Margaret?
Following up on that, I think that there are certainly enough organizations or groups in Falmouth that if we suggest we need that to support children, that, you know, our students, that in fact we can find that money somewhere. And I think we have an obligation to do that.
Watch out, high school, you're gonna get like 100, they're gonna get 100 calculators donated.
Well, I just want to follow up on that as well, that I would like to see it for everyone, so that nobody has to ask. Because there are plenty of kids who, you know, may think, just there are kids that aren't gonna ask that should ask, and there are kids that won't ask because they don't, there's still a stigma, and I've said this, as you just said, you know, you're gonna stand on this, your soapbox, I'm gonna stand on mine. There's a big financial and social swing in this town, and if we are truly supporting our AP kids, all of our AP kids, then it just needs to be an even playing field, not go down the hallway and ask because you know that you can't ask your parents for $80 and $140. Just everyone. It's public school. Let's just do it. Sonia.
So I'm gonna put this down, I'm looking at Henry, we're gonna put it down for our AP Equity Grant team, because that's part of what we're examining, but we just made a really significant investment in calculators, actually, to try and offset that.
That was easy.
What I wanna do is go back and verify that that was 100% across the board, or if that message about the calculators had gone out ahead of time, and then we can address it going into next year if we're already in motion. But we just made a really significant investment in calculators to shift what we have and how we're using them, so that that's not happening. So I just wanna see where that message got relative to, but that's a shout out to Lori Gatchell, our math department head, for shaping that.
So speaking as a parent with a child in one of those classes, the message that I've gotten this year is, I don't know how the communication is differing, or, you know, and if these are the same calculators, but there are calculators to use at school, right? But I think thinking about, but the teacher is still advocating for you having your own calculator to take home and to use on the test. And so thinking about what are these calculators we're buying to give to students or for them to use in school, and what level of access are we?
The intention is to issue like we do their textbook, but they are just arriving. Like, I just got a picture of some of them.
Yeah, if we can do it with Chromebooks, we can do it with calculators.
So we hear you, it's taken us a little to work it out, but I just wanna let you know that we're in that motion.
That's great.
Do you have, I mean, I guess if over 40% of our students are taking at least one AP, but I'm trying to figure out what is the magnitude of investment needed to ensure that the cost of the test is not an obstacle? How many AP test fees are we talking about in the course of a year?
It could be a job for the.
Yeah, we're talking about a couple hundred. We can look at it with the team, and the other thing that I don't wanna misquote you is there's a, when we were talking earlier about students who are identified as low income or economically disadvantaged, the AP also has a subsidy for that as well. So I wanna go back and get that information, and I don't wanna misquote what the rates are.
Could I possibly ask a slightly unrelated question? Is there a mechanism for students facing financial difficulty to get support with the cost of PSAT?
Yes, I think that's already covered.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I think we pay 100%.
Yeah, I think I paid for all of them,
We're working towards that, I think we.
Margaret, did you say?
Well, you know, when I said money available, I didn't mean, you know, students should be told you can go and ask for it. I don't know if they fill out a paper or whatever, but if a family can afford it and wants to afford it, fine. But students should just know that money is available for anybody who would like to take the course, so that sort of levels that off.
Right.
I didn't mean, if you don't have money, go and ask.
No, it
Okay.
just, I know that you didn't mean it like that, but I just mean like, kids are, teenagers are, it's hard enough to sometimes, advocate for yourself
I agree
for
with you.
a basic need, so I'm just thinking about,
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think so too.
great. Dr. Dyer, anything else?
That concludes the superintendent.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for the many voices.
Yeah, excellent, it's a teamwork. Committee member reports. Anyone? Mike?
7:25, routine business.
Excuse me, I skipped it.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, that was an error on my part. Let's go back to routine business and approve the minutes of September 26, 2023. Is there a motion? Great. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, roll call, Bill.
Bill Dorfner, abstain.
Feeling yes.
Yours, yes.
Welch, yes.
Susie, yes.
Lumping yes.
Goldstone, yes.
Wolfson, yes. It looks like the minutes have been approved, thank you. Now moving on to committee member reports. Terry.
It isn't really a committee report, it was being a member of a group who toured the schools with Lori's group the other day, and I made a promise to some history class. I got overwhelmed when they asked me to talk about the school committee, and I went on, and I said, yeah, we'll have the fishbowl so you can ask us questions. So now I have to put my money where my mouth is, and I would like to tweak it over last year because we didn't update it enough. We didn't make it school specific, and if people will give me the permission, I don't know if I need to get permission, I'll take it on to, write up some questions and get it back into the schools, because you have to admit, it was always so refreshing to read that. And I would like to expand it so that we hear from every school, every meeting, and if you think about it, it's 30 seconds to read that, so it couldn't possibly be more than 3 minutes or so to give out the fishbowl. So do I need to get approval to reinstate that fishbowl, or?
I don't know that we need to have an approval to reinstate the fishbowl. I wouldn't,
I can talk to Sharon, because I know Sharon helped with the questions, so I would work with our very able assistant.
maybe we could have a revision on the fishbowl. It could be like a 30 like I would love a 30-second update from each school.
Well, it has to be from the students.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But
This year, we're not going to hear from us, we're going to have a student group.
we do,
At
yeah,
the school this year.
okay.
So it's another avenue of being able to hear directly from students, and the topic is about, your Clipper experience, right? So they're gonna focus in on that different Clipper experience, and we're gonna get to hear from the students, since that's kind of been our goal and focus this year around that. But I'm not saying not to do the fishbowl if you want, I'm just saying that, that is gonna be an opportunity.
Perhaps our fishbowl could be something like the Clipper experience. And while we're at the other schools, say we're at East, maybe we could read from the fishbowl from the other schools. Yes, no, maybe?
So I would, rather than trying to sort it out now, I would say that like the two-way communication piece, that Chris Warren could probably weigh in on gathering what we're actually trying to gather. And then you, who has to manage the agenda, Terry, who's actually willing to do work, to figure it out.
Okay, emails to follow. Any other committee member reports? Chris? Sue?
I very much enjoyed the bus tour of the 3 schools, and kudos to the custodial staff, because the buildings were in exceptional condition, very, very clean. I enjoyed the opportunity to meet some of the finance committee members that I have not met before, as well as the new town manager, so that was a great opportunity. I'm thrilled about going back to the different elementary schools, all different schools. I'm talking ancient history, but we used to do this all the time. We couldn't at one point because we were not able to broadcast, but it's very valuable. Also, I attended the district health and safety meeting, and not to get into so many specifics, but again, I had the opportunity to meet our new police chief, and that was, I welcomed that opportunity. And things that were discussed at the district health and safety meeting were just the proper procedures for school lockdowns, et cetera, within the schools, and goals for the years, and protocols for response to emergency situations. So, thank you.
Chris?
One thing that I wanted to start doing was, and I want to kind of get the committee and administrators' kind of opinion on it, was to start sitting in on like parent-teacher, like PTO meetings and other meetings, just to kind of expand the accessibility of like a school committee member, more so to be another ear, and also to kind of communicate, kind of important events that are going on, to kind of spread that information, and answer any kind of like simple questions regarding, who parents should go to if they have, any problems, and to just kind of expand that accessibility to like different PTO meetings, other maybe student advisory board meetings, but just to be a presence there. So if people have anything they want to bring up, they can do that. So I kind of just wanted to throw that out there, what people thought about that. And
I think it's a great idea. My early years on school committee, I was also a member of the PTO, and exactly that. It was great to be a voice. If you, you can answer easy questions. Some questions are a little more difficult, and you have to send it up the chain. But I think that that's a great idea, Chris.
And the idea would be to, because I'm just one member, and I can't speak for the committee, it's more to get the information, and then, maybe at future committee member presentations, just to kind of, tell the committee what I've heard, so that everybody's kind of aware of what I'm hearing as a single member, so that we're all kind of hearing the same information. So
that sounds great. I love your enthusiasm.
We did have a rotating, each school committee member, up until about 4 or 5 years ago, each school committee member was assigned to a school, and we would go and do that. But we bowed out of the school council meetings because there was thoughts that should be totally an in-house thing. But the PTOs could be, they're not like that. So if everybody agreed to take, we wouldn't put all the weight on one person to go to all those meetings. If we each volunteered to take one school or whatever, that could be. And it's good what you said to share that out then. It's my thing now.
Margaret?
I don't have much, but just to your point, the Morris Pond PTO is having Monster Mash on October 20th. So for all the students watching this meeting, now they know. Go to bed now, it's over.
Thank you, Mike. Margaret?
I actually think it's a good idea too. But I want to sort of underscore 2 things. Number one, that no individual committee member can speak for the whole committee. So what is said at those PTO meetings,
I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I think he was.
No, I don't think he is either. I just think it needs to be set up well.
Okay.
And number 2, originally, I was asked to speak in some forum, and I was told by the former chair I couldn't do it because I would be seen as speaking for the school committee. So I just want to make sure that, the notion of gathering information, of hearing what's happening, and sharing the burden, Terry, I agree with you. But I think it's important that everyone remember that we don't speak for the whole committee, and we have to be careful about how we present ourselves at those meetings.
Thank you. Any other, Kelly?
Just mentioning that policy has 2 upcoming meetings to discuss a whole variety of things, but we'll have an update at our next meeting.
Great. I'm also gonna give committee member reports. I was also at the safety meeting. Thank you, Sue, for bringing that up. I think that you kind of touched on everything I wanted to say. It was great to be back and have the conversation. It came on the heels of the Morse Pond incident, so I thought that it was a good debriefing situation. I appreciated the conversation from the new chief, from Paul Stefanelli, and from other staff members. I also had the pleasure of being invited to the Lawrence High School, Falmouth High School Hall of Fame ceremony this past Saturday evening. And I have to say, as a Clipper myself, it was humbling to be in a room with so many greats. Dr. Antonucci, of course, Mr. Cranshaw, Mr. Watson, Mr. Rainey. There were amazing teachers and coaches and absolutely stunning athletes that were mentioned who were there with their families and getting awards. And it was humbling. It made me so proud to be a Clipper, and I can't say enough about it. Truly, I cannot. I also was going to mention the policy, 2 meetings that are coming up. One is a regularly scheduled meeting, and one is a special policy meeting that in regards to just a couple of policies that we don't have in alignment, and that we're hopefully trying to just make sure everyone is stay safe and what have you. I know that's very vague, but that's policy. So anyone else? Margaret.
Well, I want to follow up on Chris's suggestion. If we think that's a good idea, and Terry's idea that we should share the wealth, do we have volunteers to say who's going to go where?
We could follow that with an email. We can figure that out.
Okay.
Any other updates? Okay, any requests for information? Kelly?
Just something we already talked about, but just so it's in the right spot.
Sure.
on your notes, the data on the cost of AP exams.
Thank
and
you.
the calculator question.
I'm gonna say AP exams, BSATs, and calculators.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Terry?
I've had a request from the president of the Athletic Hall of Fame to consider Mr. Reardon, who has passed away and is a former involved very much in athletics in our district, to be his name be considered as being named for the new tennis courts. This is something that has to be discussed in public and approved by the school committee. So I'm just putting that request that I was approached by Stephen Kapulka, who, as I said, is the president of that, for that consideration.
Okay.
So where it goes from there, it's now in your court.
Excellent.
Court.
Excellent. Any other requests for information?
This is a request for information, but at the end of last year, Terry, you asked us for our hours to give to.
Right, I have been neglecting that. It's bothering duty, yes.
And, I don't keep track of my hours, but if it becomes conscious of me, I would do that. So, Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, Mary, I'll send an email tomorrow and people can just reply back to me and I'll take care of it for people. But
Thank you.
right, I'll do that. Thank you, Margaret. You all know what that's about. You record your hours. VIPs really, they get grants based on how many hours they have. So there's a concrete reason to do it.
And discounts.
And ours, the subcommittee meetings.
Everything.
The reading you do, for each meeting you do reading, so, tack on whatever it takes you to look over all that material too, but it really adds up. And I'll send an email.
Great.
Thank you, Margaret.
Any other requests for information? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Mike? Is there a second? Excellent. Roll call. Unanimous.
Yes.
But they-
And our meetings are getting on a good fun.